In 2023, I was invited to have a seat with Chris Hansen. Wait, since we're talking about Chris Hansen, let's avoid any confusion, and I'll say that line a lot more clearly. In 2023, I conducted a podcast interview with Chris Hansen. Yes, that's right. I'm one of a handful of people who sat down on camera with Chris Hansen and wasn't having the worst day of my life.
Would you have a seat right over on the stool there, please?
Chris Hansen, of course, is something of a legend. He became a household name thanks to Catch a Predator, a segment that ran on Dateline NBC from 2004 to 2007. The premise was simple yet compelling. Adult men were lured to a sting house under the belief they were meeting a minor for sex, only to be confronted by Hansen and eventually law enforcement. He fought really hard to get this show on the air, even though at the time, Dateline NBC admitted they didn't even know how to market it.
The show kind of sat at the network for a minute, and people were in the executive ranks trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we do it? You know, this is obviously phenomenally compelling material. I mean, stuff that has never been seen on television before.
While the show has faced its fair share of criticism, it's undeniably brought the issue of online predators to the forefront of public discourse, particularly during the early 2000s. This was a time when the internet was still relatively new to people, and social media was just a blip on the horizon. In the recent TikTok era, however, clips from To Catch a Predator have resurfaced and gone viral time and time again, and unfortunately, they've also inspired its fair share of imitators. One notable figure who has repurposed the To Catch a Predator formula is Vitaly, a name some of you might remember from the early days of YouTube. He rose to fame alongside other internet pranksters like Roman Atwood, known for elaborate yet often controversial pranks. Many of these stunts crossed major ethical lines, with some being racially charged, like Vitaly's In the Hood pranks, others sexist, and otherwise in bad taste. As a teenage boy, of course, me and my friends found pranksters like this hysterical, but now as an adult, it's clear how problematic they really were. Vitaly disappeared for a while after a barrage of controversy, addiction, and, in 2020, his arrest. People magazine confirmed that the arrest came after a woman told police that she was jogging alone when Vitaly accosted her and threw her to the ground. She told police that the YouTube star straddled her and began punching her repeatedly in the chest, neck, and face. The alleged victim told police she had never met him and didn't know who he was or why he would have attacked her. She complained of chest pains at the scene and had suffered a cut above her eye that required stitches. Police never were able to reveal a motive. But even though he's been mired in controversy and allegedly carried out this vicious assault, Vitaly has recently made a major comeback. He actually got a multi-million-dollar streaming partnership with the platform Kick and produced a series called Catching Predators. While it mimics Chris Hansen's original formula, it also adds a prank-style element that feels more like shock content than genuine advocacy. For instance, after luring a supposed predator, Vitaly and his team subject them to bizarre and often humiliating punishments, like getting their head shaved, enduring the one-chip challenge, or even sumo wrestling. Watching some of these clips, I can't help but wonder if Vitaly actually cares about catching predators, or if he just finally found a demographic he can prank, abuse, and torture without the general public really caring at all. While some cases do reportedly make it to law enforcement, these antics raise serious ethical and legal questions. One case, reported in May 2024, involved Vitaly and his team, which included Aiden Ross, catching an alleged 24-year-old predator attempting to meet a teenage boy. Complex reported, Aiden Ross and Vitaly caught a man attempting to have sex with a minor, eventually turning him in to Miami police after going on a Vigilante-style operation to catch him in the act. The streamers conducted the operation where they used hidden cameras to catch an alleged 24-year-old child predator while he was meeting and trying to have sex with the decoy that he thought was a teenage boy. Ross, Vitaly, and their crew popped up in the home and began questioning him while trying to scare him with a live alligator. One of the guys, Fresh and Fit co-host Myron Gaines, then started to read an alleged text exchange between the decoy and this man where the latter implied the decoy's young age wasn't a problem for him and that he wanted to have sex with the decoy. The Miami-Dade police were eventually contacted and the suspect was arrested, but law enforcement made it clear they did not condone these kinds of vigilante actions. Detective Andre Martin issued a public statement warning against such operations. He said, quote, "Your intentions may be good. You may believe you're helping law enforcement or your community by taking someone off the street, but you may also be ruining an investigation and helping this person walk free." And that's really the crux of the issue I'm talking about. While the goal of catching predators is undeniably noble, the methods employed by some of these modern copycats are often reckless and counterproductive. The scary thing, though, it's not just actual predators being harmed by these amateur sting operations or to catch a predator-inspired pranks. On January 5th, the New York Times reported a completely separate and disturbing case involving 5 college students in Massachusetts. They lured a man to their campus under the guise of meeting someone on Tinder, then ambushed and assaulted him, accusing him of being a predator. The kicker? He wasn't even there to meet a minor. He thought he was meeting an 18-year-old, a legal age. The article says there was no indication that the man was trying to meet underage girls, and the woman who invited him to the campus, Kelsey Brainerd, who's 18, said on her Tinder profile that she was 18 years old, the police said. The police did not provide the man's age. Videos of the episode, which happened on October 1st, were shared among students and seen by the police, who said that minutes after the man arrived on campus, he was watching a baseball game on a couch in the student lounge with Miss Brainerd, and there was ample space between them. Suddenly, a large group of students appeared from hidden locations, the complaint said. The students berated the man as a, quote, sexual offender, grabbed him and blocked him from leaving the room, the police said. He escaped, and as a group of about 25 people chased him, a male who's not named in the court documents because he's a minor punched the man in the back of the head. Once the man reached his car, another student slammed a car door on him. It was unclear if the man was injured or sought medical treatment. The group of students had their phones out and were apparently recording the episode, according to the police, who also reviewed campus surveillance camera footage and interviewed students as part of their investigation. A few minutes later, you see the group coming back in, laughing and high-fiving each other, the police said. One of the students, Easton Randall, 19, told the police that the students had been inspired by To Catch a Predator and videos popular on social media, the complaint said. It also said the group was trying to replicate a TikTok fad in which people lure a sexual predator to a location and either assault them or call the police. The truth is, these kinds of incidents not only risk harming innocent people, like the example I just mentioned, but they also undermine the credibility of legitimate efforts to combat online predators. This type of vigilantism is something I discussed in depth with Chris Hansen during our interview back in 2023. He condemned this approach and encouraged that anyone involved in this type of work must collaborate with law enforcement. Take a look. I know naysayers of you, and I see naysayers of what I do that go into, this is law enforcement. Let them cover it. Why are you talking about it? Why are you sharing it? Where do you see that responsibility kind of end with you exposing versus let's step away from this and just wait for law enforcement to handle this?
Well, that's a very good question. And I think I found the balance with the kind of proactive enterprise journalism that I practice. It is not vigilante.
Right.
I mean, you see some of these people on
You're not
YouTube.
turning the camera off when they get in the room.
No,
it's not Dog the Bounty Hunter bursting the door.
Yeah, we are covering the commission of a felony, and we hold people accountable. And because of my years doing it, law enforcement across the board will collaborate for the most part. I mean, obviously, look, there are big agencies that have bureaucracies that don't make it easy to do this, but we know which agencies to work with. It's not the vigilante thing where the guy does research, finds a guy who's doing this and just jumps out of the bushes and makes 10 seconds of dramatic video.
Yeah. There's a lot of those guys.
There are a lot of those guys, and those cases are very difficult to prosecute. And so you get a guy who's done something bad who walks. Now, I'm not, criticizing all of them. Some of them have done work that's led to prosecutions. Some are well-meaning. But more often than not, these vigilante groups are problematic for a lot of different reasons, including the fact that they're just out to get clicks and attention and gain money. Now, I like clicks and attention, and I like to have a commercial enterprise. I get it. But the way we do it is much different than the way some of these other guys do it. Yeah. There is plenty of room in society for citizen journalists and people who have podcasts and people who help solve crimes and create discussion and awareness. There's a whole industry onto itself of that, and that's good. Citizen journalists should have a voice, but it can go downhill quickly if done irresponsibly
and not ethically. I can't help but agree with Hansen here. I fully support efforts to protect vulnerable people, and there are people that do this incredibly and bring predators to justice. But it's clear that some of these modern vigilante efforts are more about shock value and clout than actual justice. What do you guys think? Are these operations helping or hurting the cause? If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments. And if you're listening on the podcast, take the social media and let me know by finding the Preacher Boys podcast wherever you are online. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.